tell us a little bit about the 2016 vintage.
Yes, so we said already that it was something great, but I must say before it has been difficult for quite a while. The winter and spring has been very, very wet. We've been lucky several times with this vintage, as there has been a little slot of good weather around flower. You know that
the fête de fleurs during that time.
Yeah, and you know that if the weather is bad at flowering time, you can suffer and have bad fructification, bad setting, and so we were spared with that. So no impact really on quality at that stage, and everything went well. Then it rained again, and it was cool and no good, and with a very, very high disease pressure. So a lot of what we call downy mildew in French. And so it was difficult. We battled. We do a lot in Beychevelle. We do a lot of trials. We've got a big share of the vineyard which is organically grown. And so we battled really against the disease. It was tough. But luck again. After June 23rd, it stopped raining. And then the weather turned to be absolutely wonderful.
Wow.
And it was too wonderful nearly, because it was extremely dry and warm for 3 months. And in 3 months, between June 23rd and October 13th, and September 13th, it rained 23 mil, which is less than what we had this afternoon here.
Right.
In 3 months. So it was less than 1 inch of rain in 3 months. So it was extremely the driest summer ever, on record anyway. Dry, close dryness, close drought to 05 or 10, which is a good indication, a good omen.
So did the dryness of the weather at that point in time affect your decision on when to pick or not to pick?
Yes and no.
Because you're waiting for the ripening.
Yes and no, because as long as it's not dry,
okay.
drought or no drought, we wait. Where, again, you're right, sometimes it happens. For example, with wet conditions, you can have, the fruit can start to be damaged, especially what we call bunch rot, botrytis, and then you have to pick, quick. Although you would like to wait and you would like to let it ripen more, but you can't afford it. So that was absolutely marvelous, this vintage, because it was dry, permanently dry, sunny, windy, and you could let it ripen as much as you wanted, and we could decide. We made a very long harvest. We started on the organic au Médoc. We've got 2 plots in Beychevelle. One plot which is Saint-Julien, the most famous one, the one bearing the name of the Chateau and classified growth place. That's the main one, 78 hectares. And we've got 13 hectares under vines in next area au Médoc. And that's what I was telling you, I grow it organic since 08. And we were a little bit under pressure, disease pressure, so we decided to try a little bit earlier, and I wanted to see if the facility was working as well. So we started picking this Merlot on the 27th of September, and then we stopped and we waited for the Saint-Julien grapes October 3rd. And we finished October 18th, which is the latest date on record for Beychevelle. Which is very funny, because when you think, you told me it's dry, you told me it's hot and warm, it should be early. But it was not early because it was too dry and the vines were blocked and couldn't ripen really properly because they were too stressed. And then they were waiting, and then when rain arrived again mid-September, it came back and then it ripened again, and it ripened very nicely.
I think it was about 2 weeks later than the 2015 harvest, isn't it, the picking? Because the 2015 was early October when you finished.
I think we finished around the 10th of October,
so it's
in
about
15. And so we started, I think we started first grapes, if I remember. I didn't check my notes, but September 17th, I think, first grape. So it was nearly 15 days.
Yeah.
Nearly 15 days difference.
But so it's a very interesting 15 days in terms of good weather and.
Well, everybody was very relaxed in 16 because everybody was all smile. You could see the weather. Every 10 minutes we look at weather forecasts with these things. Now you've got 1, you've got 2, you've got 3 sites, and then good weather, good weather, good weather. So we can wait, and we reach incredible beauty, beautiful maturity. But on the other hand, some characteristics of the vintage, not over alcoholic. The alcohol didn't go that up. Acidity remained very, very present. That makes wines with a lot of freshness and a lot of elegance. So that's what makes the vintage so special, and that's what makes us so not confident, but confident to have a very good vintage.
Do you think the not as high as acidity level will affect maybe the long-term aging potential? Hard to tell.
Amongst the evolution of the wines that we make today, we can trace three things. Alcohol is getting higher. Imagine that Beychevelle 61 was probably 10.7 degrees or something like that in the bottle, not naturally in the bottle. So now we are more 13.8 or 14.
Wow, that's much more.
So that's a big difference. Second, tannin load is incredibly higher today. We extract far more, we got far more maturity, so we can get far more tannins and color, structure, which didn't exist, 40 years ago. And third, where you may be right, is we could fear lower acidity, which is maybe a danger for long aging wines. But on the other hand, 47 vintage, it was very warm and very low acidity, and it has made absolutely outstanding wines. So, and what we observe as well, like 10, like 16, for us, they are record high acidity wines. The interesting thing is their balance, because you could tell, well, if it's too acidic, it's no good. But it's not too acidic, but everything is very high. And then you've got freshness brought by the acidity. You've got the structure with a lot of tannins and polyphenols, and you've got quite a level of alcohol, which makes it round and full. So I'm absolutely not concerned at all on the aging ability of the wines we make today.
Fantastic.
And I hope we'll be all together in 20 years to taste them and check them again.
And Philippe, can you tell us that having got your new winery done in time, what about the delivery of the yield from the vineyards into the new winery? Obviously,
we didn't change that much.
Oh.
Technically, we didn't change that much. We always pick by hand.
But
we bring
when
crates.
getting into the winery, you have...
We don't enter the winery. I didn't want that. I didn't want to extend the building. So
Yes.
we've got a tent outside, and because it lasts 3 weeks, and then that's finished for the year. So under a tent, it's very protected. It's well. We've got what we call the sorting out. Then we destem. Then we've got what we call optical sorter, which is the new thing we put in place in 15 to reduce the number of labor force. And we thought it was very handy and very, very, very good. So we stick to it, and we're very happy to stick to it. And then one last thing, which is a major change that we wanted technically, is instead of pumping the grape and the must to fill in the tanks, we put them in a vat on wheels, 400 kilos of berries, and we push them. We take a lift, a little bit like what has been doing COS since the new construction as well, if you're there. And we do what we call gravity feeding. We fill in the tanks by gravity, opening the vats, boom, and after 25, 30 vats, 30 of these cuvons, we call in French, it's full and it hasn't been mashed by the pump. So that's, we think it may be a major change in the sense it won't mash, it won't destroy.
I think it's a major move.
So we hope to get more, pumpless. We hope to get more fruity character, more pure character, and that's what we've got in 16. We'll have to do it again a few times to make sure it's what we expect.
Well, thanks, Philippe, for sharing that insight. Now I must get on to something